Hate to see it botched? Here's the best bits, a Botching It Up podcast short clip.
Yeah, that budget's gone down, man. Actually, speaking of budgets, I was extremely interested as to Impact's general financial situation at this point. I wanted to know whether they were genuinely, seriously making money. And I've got not necessarily concrete, this is concrete, but I did find a small article which shows that they made $187,000 in profit in 2019. So somehow they're still making money.
Was it when they swapped television providers? Because I remember they stole Ring of Honor's TV contract, or the broadcaster bought them out or something. Is that what maybe gave them an influx of cash?
Possibly. I mean, Impact / TNA have been on so many television channels at this point.
It's crazy, the amount of broadcasters
they just get thrown around like an orphan.
Everybody thinks they want... Well, this is the problem with wrestling in general. So many people think they want wrestling, but then wrestling just gets hardly any viewers.
Yeah, it's the abused child. It's the abused child syndrome. They want it for a couple of weeks because it looks interesting and it looks fun, and they think that they can have a little bit of fun with that at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night. But then they realize that they actually have to look after it, and they have to feed it milk, and they have to pat it on the back, and they don't want anything to do with it because they think it's ugly.
It just needs so much marketing and so much attention. Not just Impact, all wrestling.
Well, it's the same thing. AEW has fallen off a cliff from ITV. They put them on ITV4 to begin with, and now they're nowhere to be seen.
That's because
there's no marketing at all for it.
That's because the buzz when AEW first started was nuclear all around the world, but now it's just another wrestling show. So the buzz is completely diminished.
That's really a sad thing to hear, but I do believe it is true.
But it's not AEW's fault or Impact's fault anyway. It's just I think wrestling just isn't as popular right now, and possibly never will be. I think there'll come a point where wrestling just can't be, unless you're WWE, it just can't be on commercial TV. It's going to move to internet subscription sites.
People keep saying unless you're WWE, but WWE is genuinely getting a bit scary at this point with the ratings. But subsequent last 3 weeks, they've had their worst ratings since 1993, if not before, when there was hardly any crowd and hardly any drum up of anticipation. Nobody really even knew who they were. And I looked into the actual demographics for 16 to 24-year-olds for last week's Raw. It's at a 0.16.
Jesus, that's like no one.
Yeah, literally like no one. And as you go up from the 24 to 50 plus, then you start to see a gradual increase. Still not much, still not great, but it's quite clear that WWE have their few remaining jaded fans like us, and they are not creating any new fans from the younger generation. And don't you think it's mental to think that on certain days of the week, WWE might well be selling about 50 t-shirts?
That is crazy. That's crazy. So what you're telling me is in 3 years' time, there is no way in hell Fox is paying another $50 million.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
That deal.
I think they're regretting this deal already. We're getting.
Oh, they were regretting this deal ever since the second month.
Yeah, but it's just going from bad to worse. Like, I feel like it's gotten so much worse, not necessarily because of the coronavirus, since we started this podcast again.
Do you think ever? That was really badly worded. Do you think
it's
Netflix?
Better worded than WWE's pay-per-view title.
I bet that's not the first time I'm going to hear you say that today. Do you think Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV, Now TV, any one of those will ever pick up wrestling?
I have no idea why that hasn't happened yet. Netflix is a streaming service that is constant need of new content and new stuff. You have Netflix too. Like, you see the level of shit that they throw on there sometimes just because they need stuff to be put on. Wrestling seems like the perfect fit for that. I know they tried out Lucha Underground on USA, but they should just go whole hog, man. They should just throw a weekly wrestling show on there, not WWE, something that's slightly cheaper, and see how it goes. Because the Big Show, which is dreadful, and I know WWE's working Netflix relationship, the films, as bad as they are, they perform really well when they come out. A lot of people watch them. They're always in that top tens. I genuinely think you could pull it off and it would be good.
And this ties back perfectly. Don't you think Impact would be a perfect fit? They would be cheap, but they look quite professional.
Yeah.
And new content every single week.
Netflix, I think, at this point is really about the content. Like they have produced, well, not produced, but bought the rights to pretty much every Bollywood film ever made recently. I don't know whether you've noticed that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Bollywood on there.
But
Bollywood is big. They have a massive follow. Bollywood makes more money than all other film industries in the world combined.
No. Of course, I'm not saying that. It's just that it quite clearly shows that Netflix are not with. I was saying it. They're not within the realm of picking anything up, and it's no longer about modern westernized audiences that want a particular type of comedy or action film. So they now have the sort of breadth and growth as a company to pick more niche things up, which might work for a wider audience, like Impact. Impact's a good idea. I feel like Netflix would also improve Impact's production values to the point where it becomes a viable contender for something or other.
God, yeah. Netflix would be a saving grace to Impact.
I'd be on the phone, mate.
Like, share, and subscribe to keep it botched up, brother.